Hi and welcome to part 3 of my How to Make a T-shirt series. In the last two tutorials I showed you how to measure your shirts and how to cut out the shirts and the sashing, and today I'm excited that we're going to put everything together and make it into a quilt top. So let's take a look. So the items you'll need are basically what we've already made in the first and second tutorial. So you'll have your t-shirts that have already been cut out into panels, your sashing that you'll need for the vertical between each of the shirts, and then also your sashing for the horizontal between each row of shirts. So now let's go ahead, and that's pretty much it. So now we can go ahead and lay out the t-shirts into the rows and the order that you want them to appear on your quilt. So unless you have a very large design wall, the best way to lay out your shirts is to do it on the floor. The goal here is to have everything laid out so it looks nice and neat, and not to have too many of the same colors touching each other or in a row, because when you have several different colors I find it looks a lot nicer when the colors are spread out. So as you can see here, I've got the black separated, the white separated to an extent, and so forth. And because you have different height panels, you are sometimes limited in what you can move around, but you know, every little bit does help. And then you can also change out the layout if you so choose to see what looks best. So I mean, you can move it like that and so forth. And then once you're happy, go ahead and just pick everything up in the order you want it, and then you are ready to sew. For each row of 3 shirts horizontally, you're going to need 2 pieces of sashing that is 2 inches wide for each end, and the height will vary based on how high your shirt panel is, and then 2 of the narrower pieces that are 1.25 inches wide times the height of your shirt panels. And so how it's going to work is, on the leftmost side you got to put the wider piece, and then one of the narrower pieces between the first and the second shirt, another narrow piece between the second and the third shirt, and then finally on the right hand side you got to have your wider 2-inch piece. Grab the first shirt, the one that's going to be on the left, and your piece of wide sashing, and put right sides together down the left hand side. Pin if you need to, or if you feel confident enough not to, you don't have to, and then go ahead and sew. I like to chain piece when possible, so now I'm going to get my second shirt, and on the right hand side I'm going to put right sides together and sew. Now you can get your first shirt back again, the one that you've already sewn down the left hand side. Grab your fin strip, the 1.25 inch wide strip, and put it on the right side, right sides together, and go ahead and sew. Like so. And lastly but not least is your last shirt, the one on the right hand side. You've got to go ahead and get your thick piece, the 2-inch wide piece of sashing, right sides together on the right side, and go ahead and sew. We're going to sew the first panel, which has the wide and the fin strip, to the second one, which will have your fin strip on the right side. I just put it together, right sides together again, and go ahead and sew. Your row is almost put together. We've already got the first 2 shirts together, so now we just need to grab our third shirt, right sides together, like so, and we'll sew them together. And now we have a completed row. Looks really nice. So go ahead now and repeat for the rest of your rows. So now that you have all of your rows sewn together, I won't show all of them, you can go ahead and put the horizontal sashing on it. So starting with the very top row, go ahead and grab one of your 2-inch wide sashings, right sides together, and go all the way across the top, and sew your 1/4 inch seam allowance. So now we have the sashing attached to the very top. We're now going to grab one of our fin strips and put it right sides together along the bottom of this top panel, just like we did the top, and sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then you got to do the same thing with the thinner pieces on the bottoms of row 2, 3, and 4. So go ahead and sew all those. With our fifth and final row, we got to use our last piece of the wider sashing, the 2-inch, and like the others, go ahead and put it right sides together at the bottom and sew. So now that you have the horizontal sashing on all 5 rows of your shirts, it's now time to put the rows together and make this quilt actually into a quilt top. So grab the first row, which will have your thick at the top and thin at the bottom, and then your second row, which will just have the thin at the bottom. Line it all up, pin or clip is needed, and go ahead and sew these 2 rows together. Once you're finished putting rows 1 and 2 together, go ahead and put rows 3, 4, and 5 together so you have the completed quilt top. So now you have your completed quilt top. Pat yourself on the back, you have done a great job, it is exciting. And so come back for the next tutorial, which will be tutorial number 4, to show you how to pin, baste, whatever you like to call it, with your backing fabric, and then we'll go ahead and quilt it and bind it, and you'll have your very own completed t-shirt quilt. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. If you did, definitely hit the like button and let me know what you thought of the tutorial. Your comments and ideas do help me with my tutorials in the future. So have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.